Hello, my name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89 VA Claims Consulting, Leave No Vet Behind, and also I'm a United States Army veteran. Today I'm bringing another video as it pertains to the VA disability compensation claims process. But before I get into today's video, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video. Also, you can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So, we get a lot of questions on permanent and total, and what I realize is a lot of veterans, they don't know what permanent and total is, they don't know the fastest way to get there, and also they don't know how to identify it when they're service connected for it. So, in today's video, I'm going to answer all three of those questions. I have 3 slides for you. I'm going to go through, talk to these slides, and give you some examples. Okay, so let's get into today's video. Slide number 1. Here in slide number 1, you can see this is the M21 reference definition for total disability and permanent disability. So let's look at the first one, total disability. It means, or is defined, the VA defines it as scheduler or extra scheduler evaluations of 100% under or analogy to any DC means diagnostic code in 38 CFR Part 4. And in parentheses, I typed in VA's rating scheduler, okay? And then also it says a combined evaluation of 100% or more, or a total evaluation on the basis of IU. So let's go back to that first bullet comment. It states 38 CFR Part 4. That's the rating scheduler. That's where you're going to find all the VA's diagnoses. Now also it states analogy. Okay, so what does that mean? What that means is if you are giving a diagnosis on a CMP exam that's not in the rating schedule, which is in 38 CFR Part 4, then they're going to analogize it to something close. So, for example, let's just take lumbar strain or cervical strain. If it's something dealing with the back or neck, it is not necessarily a lumbar strain or a cervical strain, that diagnostic code for those two conditions is 5237. If it's related to that and it's not an actual diagnosis of lumbar or cervical strain, the diagnostic code would read like this: 5299-5237. And that would be identified on that way in or on the rating schedule, or if you went out to the VA and requested a disability breakdown letter. Okay, so that's what they mean, analogy. All right, now permanent disability is defined as permanent disability means disabling manifestations reasonably certain to continue throughout the lifetime of the individual, meaning permanent. Now, a key note to that: if you are getting or having a DBQ, disability benefit questionnaire, completed by a private examiner, and this is something that I did, why not ask that examiner, hey, for the diagnosis for this particular DBQ that you're completing for me, do you feel that this condition is permanent in nature? And if so, ask them to put it in the DBQ. This condition is considered permanent and total, all right? That way, that prevents that adjudicator from assigning a routine future. I'm not going to get into routine futures, but I will link other videos that I've done for routine future exams to this one, okay, at the end of this video. So you'll have that. And also, in the permanent disability, there are other 38 CFRs that talk about this. So in my other videos, I refer to the M21 first because it's easy to find a court case that pertains to the topic. So you got the definition for total. There's a court case for that. And for the permanent disability definition, you have 38 CFRs that you can go to and reference additional information. Okay? So again, I don't copy the entire M21 or 38 CFR if I'm showing that information. So please go out and do additional research. Okay, now, slide number 2. And here in slide number 2, I put together, on the left, you see the 5 ways of service connection. In the middle, you see claim conditions. And on the right, you see percentages. A lot of veterans, now, I'm not advocating everyone go out there and these are things that you can do and it's guaranteed that you're going to get 100%. But if you feel that you are entitled to 100% based on things that you're claiming, then fight for it, okay? But I'm not advocating that every vet goes out there and just try to figure out ways how to get there. If you so choose to do that, then, more power to you. I'm not going to say there's something wrong, all right? Because everybody's claim is different. And like I said, if you feel that you want 100%, go after it, okay? So on the left, you got the 5 ways of service connection. Pre-service aggravation, direct service connection, secondary service connection, increased service connection, and presumptive service connection. Agent Orange, 1 year, 3 year, 7 year, Camp Lejeune, and Gulf War. Now, in the middle, I pick conditions that I feel. I'm going to repeat that I feel that if you have these diagnoses, this is the quickest path to permanent and total if you meet the percentage criteria for each one of these conditions that I've listed, okay? Again, I feel everybody's claim is different, all right? So it's up to you. You may have, I've seen veterans with more conditions, all right, and are given 100%, all right? So this is just what I think the heavy hitters are to get you to that permanent total status faster. Okay, so number 1, lumbar strain. You see what I have in parentheses? Due to being awarded the parachute badge. That's something that you commonly see individuals that weren't treated in service, but they were awarded the parachute badge. Maybe they were in an airborne unit, did multiple jumps throughout their career, and now they're having back conditions. So you're asking the VA to concede that this happened. And if your range of motion is 30 degrees or less than 30 degrees, the forward flexion, you'll be awarded the 40%. Second one, PTSD. And of course, with PTSD, there has to be a stressor, whether it be combat or non-combat, at 70%, okay? Tinnitus, due to MOS, that falls under direct service connection, all right? Then you have sleep apnea, secondary to PTSD. I did a video last month where I interviewed a nurse practitioner, all right? Now, a lot of veterans, they'll claim this. They'll go to a CMP examiner. Most VA CMP examiners and most third-party contractors says, no, there's no correlation, but they don't provide any medical literature that states that there is no connection, okay? Now, then you have migraines, secondary to medication for service-connected PTSD. Yes, you can, not saying that you will, but you can be service-connected secondary for medication you're taking for a service-connected condition. So not only did I list the heavy hitters as it pertains to the path of least resistance to 100% permanent total status, but different ways, all right? Now, all these could fall under direct service connection in some veterans' cases, okay? But I'll just give you some examples of secondary and direct, all right? Now, on the right, you got the lumbar strain at 40, PTSD at 70, the tinnitus at 10, sleep apnea at 50, and migraines at 50. Now, there's different criteria for those particular percentages, but it equals out to 96%. So you met the 95% threshold, and if there's no routine future assigned, then it's 100%. Now, I want to point out something as well. If the 10% for tinnitus is not on here, it's still at 96%. A lot of people get confused. They add these up and they're like, oh man, I'm like 150, 100 or 250 percent. Why am I 100? VA math, 2 plus 2 equals 3. All right. So I'm not going to get into how all that is calculated, but if you run these numbers in a disability calculator, it'll come out to 96%. Okay. So slide number 3. Slide number 3. This is what it looks like in a rating decision. I just made up a rating. Now, this is the first page of the rating decision. What's missing? The VA seal at the top, the veteran's name, veteran's social security number, and if the name of the veteran's VSO, Veteran Service Organization, and or claims agent or accredited attorney. Okay, so those things are missing. I just wanted to show in the decision section, which I've highlighted in red, what permanent and total looks like in the rating decision. So if you're 100% permanent and total and you say, wait a minute, I don't think that I am, go back through your rating decisions, okay? And you want to find one where it states basic eligibility to dependents, educational assistance is established, and it'll give the effective date. This means that you are permanent in total. Now, also, you may have in the first slide where I talked about total, it mentioned individual unemployability. Now, when you're granted individual unemployability, there's certain criteria that you have to meet. So what that means is your overall evaluation or percentage is not 100. It could be 70, 80, or 90, but if they feel that those conditions and or condition is 100%, then guess what? They can grant you Chapter 35. Basic eligibility, dependence, educational assistance is established. You'll see that. Okay? All right. So those 3 slides, what did we talk about? The definition. The second slide, fastest way, path to least resistance that I feel, that I've seen, and based on what I've seen veterans get as it pertains to maximizing their overall percentage and getting that P&T. And then third, what does it look like in a rating decisions, okay? In a rating decision. So I answered 3 questions. So go back, look at those different slides, and then that way you can kind of look at your conditions. But the second slide is key. This is the 4th video that I've done in the last 2 years where I talk about the 5 ways of service connection. That's something that I missed on my first claim. And it put me in a world of hurt, okay? And it took me 4 years to correct some things. So if you know what you're claiming, figure out where it falls under the 5 ways of service connection. Draw a line to it, okay? But don't forget to educate yourself on not only the 5 ways of service connection, but the criteria for each one. And then you can go out, like in slide 1, it said diagnostic code, DC, rating scheduler. When you look under that diagnostic code for PTSD, migraines, sleep apnea, the back, whatever it is, where do you think you fall? And then calculate those and figure out where you fall on that percent table. Are you 95% or above? Do you have some secondary conditions, secondary to some service-connected conditions? Is there anything in your medical records that you found after you requested a copy of your VA claims folder? Things of that nature is going to help you get to that P&T status faster if you are entitled to it. Okay? So with that being said, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button. Don't forget to go out to my website, Kilo Mike Delta, KMD89.com, and look for my upcoming classes or any other events. Thank you.